Live look at the Rise Doro building. It's been nearly 1 week since it went up in flames, adding another chapter to an extensive history of fires in downtown Jacksonville. Zach Wilcox spoke with an historian and is on your side from the Rise Doro now. Zach, demolition continues tonight.
Yeah, Riley, we're on day 6 since the fire initially broke out, day 3 since demolition started. And I tell you what, it doesn't even really look like an apartment complex anymore. I noticed it coming over the Hart Bridge today. You can see how much of the wood has been pushed in, has cascaded down the sides as well. The parts that do still look like an apartment is looking into some of the units. You can actually see stacked dryers that were in some of the units. You can see microwaves in the kitchen areas, kind of what those units were going to look like from the outside here as more and more of it comes down and the piles of rubble form at the bottom. It is nice to see that there are no fire trucks out here anymore because it just kept burning there for days and days. You know, one of the first press conferences, Mayor Donna Deegan pointed out that Jacksonville has had worse fires than this in downtown and is rebuilt from them, and that's certainly been the case. That's why I checked in with a historian over in Riverside who actually wrote the book on fires in Jacksonville and their history. He pointed out they're pretty common in the late 1800s, starting around 1850. As we saw a lot of development in downtown, a lot of wood structures going up. There were a lot of fires throughout the Civil War, all the way until 1891. The Mohawk building was the prominent building in Jacksonville, brand new building that just opened up, and it burned down in 91. But all of it, the most infamous day that it all culminated to was in 1901, the Great Fire of Jacksonville. All started at a moss drying factory. It was a particularly dry day. The moss caught on fire, embers were taken into the wind, and then ultimately that factory blew up. And that fire spread to several other buildings all around downtown. Ultimately, 2,000 buildings burned, 80% of downtown burned, and it led the city to adopt a building code because of that massive fire.
After that, buildings had to be built with fireproof materials, concrete, brick, and steel. And it's ironic that here we are 123 years after the Great Fire of Jacksonville. We're now seeing similar fires caused by buildings that are built predominantly of wood.
Wood showed me a picture after the fact of 1903, just 2 years after that Great Fire, and just showed me just the amount of rebuilding that Jacksonville had done at that point, the resiliency of all that. So we got 8 to 10 weeks of demolition going on this building, and after that, he pointed out that the base of it has a 2-layer concrete pedestal. That's the most expensive part and the most time-consuming part for developers to put in. So it'll just have to be, we'll have to wait and see just how much of that pedestal is able to be salvaged here. In downtown, Zach Wilcox, First Coast News, on your side.